Deputy Spokesperson Joel James.
Thank you, Clywyd. As the Minister will be aware, the Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has strongly backed Russia in the present Russian-Ukraine conflict, stating that, in the context of the ongoing war, Russia should be viewed as a centre of gravity in Eastern Europe. For those who are unfamiliar with this military phrasing, what the President is saying is that Russia is the source of power that provides moral and physical strength in that region, and as such has the freedom of action to enforce that moral and physical strength. President Museveni's son, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the commander of the land forces of the Ugandan People's Defence Force, and the person expected to succeed the President, has strongly asserted that most Africans support Russia, has remarked that, and I quote, "The majority of mankind that are non-white support Russia's stand in the Ukraine, and Putin is absolutely right in his attempted conquest." Given Uganda's public support of Russia, who has, with this conflict, caused immense human suffering, a high number of civilian deaths and a refugee crisis in Europe not seen since the end of the Second World War, do you, Minister, believe it is morally wrong and hypocritical for Wales to be both a super sponsor of refugees and to continue to support and send aid to Uganda, no matter how small, who believe that Russia is right in carrying out this conflict? And if the Minister does believe it is right to continue providing aid in Uganda, what justification can she give for this to those refugees who are fleeing for their lives? Thank you.
Of course, the money that does go through Wales and Africa programme goes to communities in Uganda. It goes to communities that we're working closely with and have done for many years. And also, of course, the whole of Wales. There are partnerships in communities, probably, and as you know, in your region as well, partnerships between local people in our towns and cities and villages. Indeed, Pont is a very one that you will know very well, and indeed across Wales, with communities, with NGOs in Uganda, to work as part of our Wales and Africa programme. Clearly, it is abhorrent when we hear these views, any views, and when those views are expressed, we condemn them in terms of leaders of governments, and that is happening across the world. But let's look at what we do and what the outcomes are for our Wales and Africa programme in terms of our commitment to those communities that we've worked with and which citizens across Wales are working with day in, day out in order to support them.
Thank you, Minister, for your condemnation of the remarks, and I support that condemnation. I would urge, then, going forward, that we look carefully at where that aid's going and how it's being used. As you know, the Welsh Government's flagship Wales and Africa grant scheme was created to enable the community groups and organisations in Wales to access funding for small-scale projects that contribute to Wales's delivery of the UN Sustainable Development Goals and to deliver benefits for people living in both Wales and Africa. You will be aware that total funding of this scheme is in the region of £150,000 per year, and the NHS contribution to ensure that some projects are dedicated to health activities is £50,000 per year. And these figures have remained at that level for the past 15 years. When you consider the size of the NHS budget in Wales, this amount is relatively small. And given the long-term effects of COVID in sub-Saharan Africa, I'm keen to know why you are funding your flagship initiative with such meagre sums. Firstly, Minister, can you comment on whether the lack of an uplift in the NHS contribution over the past 15 years is an oversight on this government's part, or is this stagnation of funding part of the Welsh Government's vision for delivery of the Wales and Africa programme's long-term goals? And secondly, with such small sums involved, how do you measure whether there has been any long-term benefit of this programme, both in Wales and in Africa? Thank you.